Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Literally a guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin for lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Takes the lead on the final lap.
Good evening, guys and girls around the world. Welcome to PSGL here for round number 3 of the F4 Championship on the PlayStation platform. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards. Going to be taking you through the action as always on a Monday evening here. And joining alongside me in the commentary box is the one, the only. It is Mr. Danny Quinn. Danny, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really well. Well, I'm feeling a bit under the weather, so apologies if I have to mute. But yeah, I'm feeling excited to get this commentary. Of course, track we are at for tonight is one of the most, well, the most iconic track on the F1 calendar in my eyes. We're here, Principality in Monaco.
Yep, it is the Monte Carlo Grand Prix. We're here in Monaco, the Monaco Street Circuit. And let's have a quick look at the track in question as we look around this 3.3 kilometer, 2 mile circuit in length around the narrow streets of Monaco and 19 corners. Of course, is going to be grueling for all these guys out there on the track. And it's going to be one of those races, that is for sure, where there could be a lot of front wings missing if you're not too careful. Of course, the wall's very unforgiving around here, and a lot of iconic corners as well. Obviously, Saint-Devon, turn number 1, head up through Beau Rivage, turn 2 up through Massenet, turn 3 Casino, turn 4 Mirabeau, obviously the hairpin. You got Portier, you got the tunnel section, you got the Nouvelle Chicane to back. The swimming pool section, Rascasse and Anthony Knowles in the final corners. And when with overtaking opportunities around this circuit ever so marginal, these guys are really going to have to make each overtake count out on track.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's one of the, well, the hardest track to overtake at. Of course, there is only one DRS zone, and that is the pit straight into Saint-Devon. So that's probably one of the main overtaking spots, even though it is quite an open corner, but then tightens on exit. And of course you have the famous Rascasse dives. So yeah, I might see a couple of those tonight.
Of course, when I think of like overtaking opportunities, obviously Saint-Devon does stick out turn number 1 with DRS. The Rascasse dive, as you mentioned, can work. But obviously down at the Nouvelle Chicane as well, that could be a key overtaking opportunity as you go on the exit of Portier through the tunnel down towards turn number 10 at the Nouvelle Chicane. Another possible overtaking opportunity is obviously turn number 6 at the hairpin as well, where we've seen in the past plenty of drivers going side by side through there. Obviously, it is such a narrow corner. Ideally, you don't want to go side by side there, but we've seen plenty of side by side action there in the past, and we could be seeing more again here tonight.
It's gonna be, well, it should be a fairly interesting race. Well, sorry, I didn't quite hear what you were saying.
I was talking about the hairpin, about side by side action through the hairpin, and obviously it's not a place where you want to go side by side just because how narrow that particular part of the track is, but it is an area where we do see side by side action quite a bit, and we could be seeing it again here tonight. But before we head out onto the streets of Monaco, let's have a quick look at the results from last week in Belgium. Of course, you see Casper did take the race win with Janel in second place. Even Knai in P3 with Povatox in P4, Tiramisu in P5, Alpha Gully in P6, Bell in P7, Lauren T in P8, Frank in P9, and of course Kilcree picked up that final point paying position inside the top 10. Chris did get the fastest lap done in P14, but what does that do for the standings? Well, let's have a look at the driver standings first and foremost, and you see it is Ivan Akai who leads the way on 22 points with 2 back-to-back podiums. Can he make it a third in a row? Time will tell. Povradok's currently in P2 on 18 points, and he's just ahead of Robbie, who of course won in the opening round in Australia, finished 15th in Belgium, and of course Casper, who is also on 16 points, tied with Robbie, who won last time out in Belgium. And then of course we got 12 points for Janel in 5th, 9 points for Kilcree in 6th, Aguado on 6 points in 7th, Tiramisu also on 6 points in 8th. Then we got Frank in 9th on 6 points also. Then we got a couple of people on 5 points, of course George Ansel and Alpha Gully in P10 and P11 respectively. 4 points for 12th place man Bell. Bogaral currently on 3 points, along with Lauren T also on 3 points in 13th and 14th place. Then of course we got CPI Lucas on 2 points in 15th, and then of course we got CPI Chris in the last of the point scorers in 16th place on 1 point. And then the driver has yet to get a point on the board. Smalley Balls, Ziana F1, Jaku, Thomas, and Crisball, as well as I know I'm gonna absolutely butcher, but I'm gonna try it. Al Marciano. I think I did okay there. I'll give myself a pat on the back later. But yeah, obviously that is how things are looking in the drivers. But let's see how things are shaping up in terms of the Constructors' Championship. As you guys see, it is the Scuderia Ferraris leading the way, 27 points for them, with Alfa Romeo, I should say Sauber, sorry, in second place on 22 points. And of course in P3 we have the Haas F1 team on 18 points, McLaren in P4 on 12 points, 9 points for Alpha Tauri in P5. P6 is the way of Williams on 7 points, 6 points for both of the Aston Martins and Mercedes in P7 and P8 respectively. And then of course at the back we have Red Bull and Alpine, both on 3 points apiece in 9th and 10th place. And I'm not gonna lie, Quinn, it definitely is an interesting one in terms of like how the standings are shaping up very early on. We may potentially be dealing with another curse year in F4, but time will tell whether that sticks true or not. But without further ado, shall we head out to the action on track here in qualifying?
Yeah, I think so. So right now we have Casper in the Sauber setting the early pace, only just under a tenth faster than Kilcree in second, and Lawrence, the person who set the first time in this qualifying session, is currently P3, so it's a great time for Lawrence.
Yeah, absolutely. Is currently on board with Robbie coming through the final corner at Anthony Knowles now to the line. DRS wide open and is going to go up into P4. Robbie there up into the second row of the grid. Ivan Klay, the championship leader, but across the line goes P8 now. On a circuit like this, Quinn, qualifying, usually qualifying doesn't mean a huge amount in terms of the race, but around here qualifying means absolutely everything.
Yeah, definitely does, and I was just on board with Ansel, and he has invalidated his laps. Unfortunately, you have to wait a little bit longer to see a time from George. Ansel, and Krypton has also invalidated his time, so he's going to be, I imagine, going to the pits fairly soon. We'll go on board with Smalley Balls as he is sliding his way through the final 2 corners. He's coming up to the line. It's a 109.406, 2 thousandths faster than Chris RBL.
Yeah, and right now, obviously, Krypton has invalidated his lap, so we've got George Ansel on the lap right now. Still using his ERS, so indicating that he is on a fast lap as he comes down into the Nobel chicane. We will go on a hot lap with someone when they begin the next lap, and I think It'll either be Provadox, Laurenti, or Alpha Gully, whoever's the furthest along the circuit. I believe it's actually going to be Provadox that's the furthest along as we come through Raskas now with George Ansel, and he's into the pit, so we'll go straight on board with Provadox, who's going to get us underway for a lap around Monaco. So coming through the final corner, DRS wide open, foot to the floor as you prepare yourself for the right-hander at Saint Devon. And there is the old saying, careful into Saint Devon, and these guys will be careful here tonight, guys, for sure. Coming up the hill now, through Beau Rivage, as we head up towards Massenet, and of course now in towards the casino. Heading now into Mirabel as we break down, getting very close to that inside wall there, as again coming into the hairpin. Big lock up at the rear for Provadox as he comes through Mirabel Bass. And now in towards Portier, turn number 8 as we enter now the tunnel, foot to the floor all the way down to the Novel chicane. Breaking just as you come over the crest at the top of the hill and taking that absolutely lovely there, Provadox is, as we head now in towards Tabac and now into the swimming pool chicanes. And now it's all about the launch you can get off this, because this is where you gain a bit of time here in towards Raskas. And through Raskas we go now with Provadox. It looks pretty good so far for him as DRS is wide open once again, coming out of Anthony Nose to the line. Will come with Provadox and he's up into P3, so good lap there from Provadox. As Laurenti also on a lap over 2 tenths up in the first sector. This could be a shout for provisional pole position, as we got just over 10.5 minutes to go in the session. Laurenti currently making his way now in towards Tabac as we come through the swimming pool chicanes. Supporting the chat already for Alpha Gully. Alpha Gully currently right now in P11. Not where he wants to be, but still enough time in qualifying to get himself further up the order, as we're on board with Laurenti now coming to the line. Has Laurenti snagged provisional pole? No, Laurenti hasn't. Looks like he lost a lot of time through the rest of the lap, as he was 2 tenths up in sector 1.
I was on board and he really had a massive slide going through Raskas, so that's where he lost the majority of his time. I think he was about 4.5 tenths up through sector 2, so he had a massive lock up through Raskas and that lost about 4 tenths.
That is the pain of Monaco, I should say, as it can be one of those circuits where when you have it hooked up, it's one of the most beautiful tracks to drive. When you make a small mistake, it can creep into the back of your mind and keep these guys under pressure. As we see Bell there, just a small little touch on the wall coming through to back, and that is going to unsettle him a little bit, just make him a little bit nervy now heading in towards Raskas. And now, of course, through Anthony Nose. DRS wide open to the line will come with Bell. I think this will be an improvement, but by how much? As he comes to the line, it's provisional pole position at 109.1.
Yeah, it was a very good lap there from Bell, and we could be looking at, well, we could have been looking at a Williams 1-2 here, and I don't remember the last time I remember seeing a Williams 1-2 in qualifying.
I mean, it's definitely been a shorter time period than waiting for one to happen in real life, that is for sure. As I'm currently on board with Smalley Balls now coming into the Grand Hotel hairpin at turn number 6. Now, looking to get a good run out of Mirabel Bass here as we head now in towards Portier. Turn number 8, where of course infamously we had the incident between Jenson Button, I believe. Oh, I'm trying to remember now who we had the incident with, but Jenson Button's car was flipped upside down at Portier. But the name escapes me. I will remember at some point. I think it was Verline, wasn't it? If I remember correctly.
I think potentially, but that is Krypton with 5 place grid penalties, so potentially a lobby restart for that. Not sure who he had a feel out, must have been Casper, who was invalidated, and of course Krypton was on his outlap.
Yeah, now we're going to see what Casper can do to respond to Bell's lap time. Currently in P2 is the Alfa Romeo, and we're going to see if Casper can get himself onto the front row and in pole position. Of course, he's already on the front row, but can he cement it now? That's the big question. Coming through, Massenet now in towards Casino, and then down in towards Mirabeau. Hot, I believe it's called. I believe it's pronounced Hot, I'm not sure. But Grand Hotel Airpin, big rear lock up there, drifting the car through the corner, now into Mirabeau Bass, and now through Portier. As there is support for Krypton in the chat as well, and we are going to be seeing if Krypton can get himself up the order as well. Currently down in P14, yet to get a lap time on the board is the Aston Martin driver, but we're on board with Casper in the Sauber, coming through the swim pool chicanes now in towards Raskas. Smalley Balls with a big improvement there, puts him on provisional pole by 3 tenths per second. Big lap time there from Smalley Balls as Casper now to the line. What's he going to be for the Sauber? 2 tenths improvement, gets him onto the front row, but not into pole position.
Yeah, just going on board with Laurentino, and he's just over a tenth improved in Sector 1. So he's looking strong so far throughout the lap. And see if anyone else is actually on a flyer who may be ahead of him. Doesn't look like it. So go back to Laurentino, he is slightly down. He did lose time through Sector 2. Now we can see if he gets it right. He does get it right through Raskas this time, but he was down. So I don't know how much he's going to improve. 3.5 tenths, P2. Very good lap time there.
Yep, decent lap time there from Laurenti onto the front row now, and I think Smalley Balls is very happy with his lap time right now, but definitely feels that it's going to be under pressure, because you think Laurenti can improve in that middle sector. And in terms of pole position lap time, I mean, we're in the 8.8 right now with Smalley Balls. How much quicker do you think these guys are going to be able to push it?
Well, obviously, it's definitely, Monaco's definitely a track where it's either people love it or people hate it. So you're going to have people who just can't hook a lap together at all. There's, I think I was just out for Gully going into P6. Yeah, but the people who love it, you're just going to keep on improving and improving. And I believe that was Provatox going into P5. So, yeah, at the moment, both Haas drivers and both Williams
Wow, Lauren,
are looking
pole.
strong. But yeah, Lauren T.
He just jumped onto the end of that.
He did back-to-back. He did back-to-back push laps.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course with 4 minutes remaining in session, Laurenti does have enough time to get back to the pits, put on a fresh set of softs and get that one final run in at the end. But traffic is now going to play a huge factor for these guys. You can see Jaku already out of the pits and trying to get a bit of clear air for himself.
Yeah, no, this is a track that if you want to run out of sync with everyone, you've got to do it at your own peril, because it's just going to be, if you try and just run in clean air and get out earlier than everyone else, you run the risk of people going out for their out laps whilst you're on a fast lap. So you definitely run a risk of getting traffic on your fast lap, but that's the risk that you've got to take in qualifying around here. You've got to try and get the timing absolutely perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, staying on board with Jaku, as you mentioned, all these cars now coming out of the pit lane, and Jaku about to start his lap, so he is going to have a bit of traffic. Let's see if he can navigate the traffic well. Heading down now in towards turn number 1, Sandavon. Breaking down through gear, the gear choice, taking a lot of the inside curve there as he gets the car rotated, now climbing up the hill through Beau Rivage. Now up in towards turn number 3 at Massenet, in towards turn number 4 at the Casino. And we'll look at the first sector split. First sector split is marginally up as we head into Mirabel Holt. And now in towards the Grand Hotel hairpin. where traction out here is going to be key, but getting the car rotated is going to be even more crucial. Into Mirabel Bass now, in towards Portier at turn number 8. Now into the tunnel, as we'll have the corner right here in turn number 9. Heading down into the braking of the Novel chicane, turn number 10 and 11. As it looks like Jakku really pushing the car. Now heading in towards Tabak. And of course, I think now he's backed out. So I think Jakku did not get the launch out of the hairpin, and the chicane, sorry, that he would have wanted.
Yeah, he was looking fairly strong throughout his lap, but yeah, just we didn't quite see what the Sector 2 split was as he had backed off. Yeah, there is a McLaren coming through, so he's got to be careful he doesn't block him. He doesn't. And yeah, he's underway on another lap. Oh, that McLaren was actually on an outlap.
And we're going to see what he can do in just a moment's time. Obviously, we got Thomas, who's on a lap in behind Jakku as well. We got Robbie, who's on an invalid lap time right now. Same with Casper, same with Smalley Ball. So we're still on board with Jakku coming through turn number 5 at Mirabel Halt, and now into the Grand Hotel hairpin at turn number 6 in towards Mirabel Bass. Turn number 7 now breaking down in towards Portier, turn number 8. And now foot to the floor, heading down into the Novel chicane. Will we see Jakku improve on his lap time? Currently down in P9. Can he get himself into the top 5? Can he get himself into the front row contention spots? That's going to be a big question. Now through Tibet. More commitment there. 10th up in the middle sector. Good going so far from Jakku, and it's going to have to climb him up a couple of positions, but he needs a bit more. Needs a bit more now through Raskas and Anthony Knowles. Now DRS wide open now to the line. It's going to be a Jakku, but what time is this going to be? A 9.2 gets him up in the P5.
That was a very good lap there, and I believe Yano is actually invalid, but he's still got some time left. He's going to have to go quick if he wants to get another lap in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know if he actually got there in time.
Ooh,
I think he did.
Robbie invalidated in the second part of the swimming pool chicanes, as we're on board now with Chris Bree as he comes through the chicanes. Keeps it valid, and like Rob moments ago, so this will go well for Christie as long as he can get through and get improved lap time. Heading to the line now is the Aston Martin, and it's going to be P6 for Crispy.
Yeah, Casper goes into P2, only 100 behind Lauren T. And yeah, Yano is very, very lucky. He crossed the line just as it... Well, I'm pretty sure he crossed the line just as the timer turned to 0. So he must have done it with like a tenth of a second to spare, because he is flying through his lap. He's only improved by a tenth through Sector 2. Was a bit wide there through Anthony Noakes, but up to the line, Yano, I believe that was a 1:09.245. P9 for Yano.
Yeah, and of course we'll run you through the order now in qualifying in just a moment's time, and here we go. It is Lauren T who takes pole position ahead of Casper, who will join Lauren on the front row. Second row consists of Smalley Balls and Pro Vatox, with Krypton and Grisby in P5, P6 respectively. P7 we have Bell with Jakku in P8. The fifth row consists of Yanel and Chris Kilcree in P9 and P10. Then outside the top 10 we have Alpha Gully, Robbie, Ivan Thomas and George Ansel. And before we get any further into this, we'll have a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. Well, what a qualifying session we had right there, Quinn. Obviously, Lauren taking a pole position, but I just want to get a quick little update on that, see if we are having a restart lobby. Close, Krypton, 10 seconds of time penalties applied, and yeah, everyone has been told to get themselves underway and ready for a restart. So we'll be seeing the cars retiring now in the pit. Sorry, as soon as we start this race, we'll be retiring. And the one thing I will say now, for all the drivers, make sure you remember your setups now for the new lobby. Do not forget your
It's
setups.
absolute carnage.
I mean, it's carnage, but
Absolute.
it's a good job we're having a restart lobby right now. And of course, it's a good job that you guys weren't able to see that, because that was I don't think that was legal.
That was definitely people doing heroics into Santavot.
Yeah, absolutely no heroics in the sun, not today. But while we are getting the lobby set up, we will take a small intermission break while we get all our set up, and we'll be back with you in just a moment, guys. We'll be RB. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Quick turnaround on the lobby, and we are ready to get going once again here in Monaco. And of course, with what we saw in qualifying, Lauren looks like he's got this lap absolutely hooked up in qualifying. Will he have it hooked up in the race? It was only 1/100th of a second between Lauren and Casper. That's going to be a very intriguing prospect down in towards Saint-Devon, Quinn.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Of course, it's one of the major overtaking zones of this circuit. So it's whether you just want. Well, obviously, people say you don't win the race on the first lap, but on a track like this, where overtaking is at a premium, you can very well win the race on the first lap.
Yeah, it's so easy to win the race on the first lap, but it's so easy to lose the race on the first lap as well. As long as you can get ahead and have the good strategy that you need to succeed around you, then you'll be absolutely fine. However, if you chip off a bit of that front wing early, it could be disastrous for the rest of your race. As the guys are right now getting their setups ready, and of course I do believe they have heeded the warning that you have put in chat to remind everyone to make sure they do have their setups selected for this, because in my opinion there's not many things worse than a default setup around Monaco.
Yeah, I don't think there's any track that a default setup is good around. So any track that you forget to put a setup on, it's, well, bad news really.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's once again, let's have another look at the track in question. 3.3 kilometers, 2 miles in length, 19 corners, and 1 DRS zone down in towards turn number 1 at Saint-Devon. The elevation change is going to be interesting for the drivers in terms of the wear and tear on those tyres, as the hard braking zones as well is going to be testing the rear brakes of all the drivers out on track. We saw it in qualifying, the amount of lockups that we saw, especially into the hairpin and Rascas, of course. It's going to be interesting to see if they can manage that in the race itself. And yeah, I mean, right now we are just waiting to get ourselves underway, and we will be back with the action momentarily. But right now, Quinn, I'm going to push you for a podium prediction.
Oh god, you always do this, and I've got no idea. I'm gonna say Lauren is gonna win.
Well, here we go. Sorry,
Provotox P2.
Right, red lights, and we are underway here in Monaco. Sorry to cut in there, Quinn, but we had to get the race start underway as Lauren gets a fantastic start on the set of the hard compound tyres, as we're seeing a couple of positions change in the midfield as they go side by side through Saint-Devon, and now heading up the hill in towards Massenet, and now, of course, through Casino.
Oh, Casper!
Ooh,
what are you doing there, Casper?
Sorry, I was just on board with Kilcree and Jakku for P9 in this race, and Jakku around the outside at the hairpin. Brilliant stuff from him, but you just spotted something going on between the front two drivers.
Yeah, going into, I believe it was Mirabeau, Casper went for the dive down the inside and very nearly tagged Laurent. So, yeah, getting very racy early on is Casper.
Well, 39 laps of Monaco is awaiting these 15 drivers. As you can see, those medium tyres on Casper really lighting the track up at the moment, as he is closing up through every corner. But right now, Laurenti in prime position right now, just to be able to park the bus and make things difficult for the Sauber in behind.
Yeah, and I've already noticed that we've got a first pitter already, and that's Alpha Gully, I believe. Yeah, the front wing change already this early on. And he did say in the build-up that we'll be seeing plenty of front wing changes, and we're already seeing it on lap 1.
Yep, heartbreaking there for Alpha Gully. It's going to be a long old night for him after making that early pit stop for the front wing change and a set of the hard compound tyres. Now, before the race start happened, of course, I did try to push you for a podium prediction. You did say Laurenti for the win.
Yeah, Yeah, Laurenti, I think, is going to hold it out for the win. He's on theoretically a better race strategy, I'd say, going from hards to the mediums or potentially the softs. And I think actually, well, I think more likely than not, I think it'll be the current top three, the podium. I think it'll be Laurenti first, Casper second, and Smalley Balls third.
Well, I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to say Casper for the race win, Crisbury second, and I'm going to go with Laurenti for third, just because of the undercut around this circuit. That's literally the only reason. The undercut around this circuit costs these guys on the mediums will be pitting before the guys on the hard sides for sure, and the undercut around here is quite poignant as well. So it's going to be an intriguing one as we get into lap number 3, and we come towards the end of lap number 3, I should say, and ready to begin lap number 4, where these guys will have their first little bit of activation on the DRS down the start finish straight in just a moment's time.
Yeah, you do have to be fairly close going into the DRS activation to actually get an overtake done. As you look at Casper, he only gained about a tenth going down the DRS straight, so you're going to have to be ideally, well, as close as I'd say to, well, 1.5 to 2 attempts to even get a look in at an overtake.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course overtaking something very difficult to do on this circuit. One of the hardest, if not the hardest track to make overtakes at in Monaco, as Casper is finding out right now as he's on the better tyre right now, but he cannot get past our Williams up ahead.
Yeah, he's finding a really tough time, of course, with it being such a tight circuit and the walls being so close. As that's Bell who's out. That is through the exit of the chicane.
Whether that is down to traction or whether just got stuck on a curve or something, I don't know. But Bell out this race, as you say.
I think he may have clipped the wall on the left side on the exit. Looking at where his car was, it was over on the right side of the track. So I think it may have just clipped the his front left tyre on the wall on the left side of the exit.
That's absolutely heartbreaking for Bell as his teammate is currently up in the race lead. Bell would have wanted to get on some good points here, of course, with it only being 15 drivers here tonight. An opportunity for a lot of these guys to get some points on the board with a slightly depleted grid than what we've been used to in previous races. But right now, as Laurenti holds on to the race lead, Smalley Balls dropped outside that 1 second window on these guys up ahead, needs to get back within a second. Otherwise, he might have to move over and that Provatox through.
Well, we've seen what teammates fighting have done previously in previous seasons in this tier, so let's hope that we don't get a repeat of last season.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of hoping we do get a little bit of a repeat from last season, just because that was just a nice little dynamic that we had over the course of the season, the inter-team battle that we had between the Williams pairing last season, between Rara and Paul, ETA Paul that is, and yeah, I mean, right now, Smalley Balls leads the way ahead of Provatox in this battle for P3, but at some point, there's going to be that call, that ruling. Move over, that Provatox go.
Well, I mean, since then, Smalley Balls has picked up the pace slightly, he's pulled back a tenth, and yeah, just think maybe he's just pushing too early on the mediums and it's just started to, well, buy him in the next few laps, but Yeah, it depends really what strategy these guys are going to be looking at.
Yes, I think Smolny makes a little bit of contact with the wall. That's going to allow Provados to come right underneath that rear wing. But the DRS not powerful enough to get the overtake done in towards Sandoval. So they're going to have to stay line astern as they are right now for another lap.
Yeah, to me, I'm just looking at Smalley Ball's car. It doesn't look like he's got any front wing damage or any damage of the sort, so looks like he's going to be in the clear. And with how downforce dependent this circuit is, any sort of damage is going to just snowball and just be a detriment. So if there is any front wing damage, I'd expect him to pit and get the front wing changed.
Let's have a look. Visually, it doesn't look like there is any front wing damage for Smalley Boss. I think he might have just about got away with it. Especially because he hasn't really shown any signs of bad understeering in any of these corners as of yet.
That's Thomas. The same place as Belbel. Exactly the same place as Belbel. And both Aston Martins are in the pits, double stacking at the Aston Martin.
Aston Martin's double stacking here on lap number 7. As we went on board with Robbie to try and see where Thomas ended up in the end, but unfortunately the car desynced from us before we got to him.
Yeah,
however,
I believe it was he hit the wall on the left side of the entry to the chicane, just out the tunnel. Of course, it's very easy to clip the wall there with your rear tyres, so potentially looking at where his car was on the mini-map, it seems like it was that way.
Yep, absolutely. Yes, we wait for the virtual safety car to end here and we can get back to green flag racing. Right now, Laurenti doing exactly what Laurenti needs to do. Hold that gap, maintain the race lead. Because your tyres will eventually become the better tyres, and that is when you can pull away from the mediums, knowing that you're able to pull away from the other hard runners as well.
Yeah, definitely. But what this is doing is just giving a little bit extra life to the medium runners, and it's going to extend it a little bit. But that's Jakku with a drive-through for speeding under the virtual safety car.
Yeah, not what Jakku wanted whatsoever, as we continue on here with the front two. Smalley Walls still leading the way ahead of Povatax for that final podium position. We have seen, obviously, Jakku picking up a drive-through penalty, and we'll serve that right here, right now. And that effectively ruins Jakku's entire race right there.
Yeah, it does, but we could easily get another safety car. It could be right back in it, but yeah, dropping down all the way to 12th place, just behind Alpha Gully. It's not looking great great now for Jakku. But looking at Krypton, he of course started on hard tyres, so he's had to switch over to the mediums. And it's definitely not going to get to the end on these mediums, so could see him potentially go to a second set of mediums or even a pair of softs towards the end of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. As we wait to see what strategy is going to unfold for these guys on the hard compound tyres, I believe they may end up doing a hard medium. I don't think they'll stretch out to the softs.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the actual tyre life, well, the life of the tyres is on this track, but yeah, I'd imagine it would still be a, well, for the people who haven't paid for Laurent Casper, well, it'll be a one stop from now for everyone else. But obviously with people already making a stop, the top 5 haven't stopped yet, so they're most likely going to be going to either the hards or the mediums. It's all about the timing and the stops, really, from, well, at least Casper and Laurent. Of course, you were mentioning that the undercut is huge around this circuit, so Laurent is just got to try and pull away from Casper and really extend the gap before Casper decides to pit. Not sure what's happened to my commentary partner here, but I'll just keep on going as do a little bit of a radio commentary here. We've got Casper just running in P2 at the moment. Just go really strong, just keeping the gap to about 4.5 to 5 tenths to Laurent T ahead. No real fight so closer than the one for the race lead so far, apart from 7th and 8th between Chris and Yano, and then we've got 12th and 13th, George and Alpha Gully, but that Smalley Balls is out. Looked like he just clipped the inside of a believe Casino. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, Smalley Balls is out. Alpha Gully comes to pit in, which is interesting. Cool. He's going to be going for a set of mediums here. And we've got our first safety car here of this race. Of course, we had virtual safety cars, but now we've got an actual safety car here.
Right, I am back. Apologies for that, guys. I had to take a quick little step away from the commentary box momentarily, but I am back right now. Quinn, can you give me a quick little update on what I missed while I was a little bit AFK?
Well, we've got a safety car here, of course, and there was Smalley Balls crashing out at turn 4. Can't remember the name. But yeah, Smalley Balls is out of this race. He collided with the inside wall at the right-hand corner.
Casino.
That, I think, yeah, Casino. He clipped the inside wall there, and unfortunately DNF, so Provotox is up into the provisional podium spots. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what strategies people go for now. Because, well, theoretically, if Casper really looks after his tyres, he can go to the end. But Laurenti, he's going to really struggle.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those cases where Laurenti might have to pit a second time, maybe check on a set of the soft compound tyres, and then at the end of the race come back into this and try to maybe make some overtakes happen. But it's one thing catching a car, it's another thing overtaking them, especially here at Monaco.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what will happen, because 3 drivers behind Casper are also on the medium tyres, being Kilcree, Provotox and Krypton. So he's still going to be under quite a lot of pressure from behind, but he's also got to keep on applying the pressure to Laurent ahead.
Yeah, and I think obviously in the early stages, I think Laurenti with those medium tyres might be able to pull that 1 second gap that he needs on Casper, leaving Casper more susceptible to the cars in behind.
Yeah, definitely. If you just make a mistake while trying to overtake, it can completely just throw off your rhythm. Like if you go for a quick dive down into Raskas and try and get an overtake done, you can fall. Well, if you don't get it right, you can, well, find yourself out of the race.
Yeah, absolutely, and these drivers, they have to be careful, especially when going into Raskas looking for any moves there. They really need to be having the best of runs out of the swimming pool chicanes.
Yeah, definitely. They've got a, well, traction is very important here, so you just got to make sure that your traction zones are your traction out of the chicanes are absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I think with the second part of the chicane, obviously, I think that's more to do with the position of your car over the corner. Like, that's where you're going to gain a lot of time or lose a lot of time there.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, we've already seen 2 people crash out at the Novel chicane. So it's definitely a spot where people, of course, you can gain a lot of time through it, but you've got to be extra cautious through it as well, in case you clip that inside wall and the inside wall that juts out a little bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're still in the safety car conditions. We should be seeing the safety car come into the pits at the end of this lap, and there we go. There's a signal, so Laurenti will control the pace, back everyone up, as Casper needs the best of restarts here. On those hard compound tyres, needs to make sure he does not lose sight on Laurenti early on this restart phase.
Yeah, of course. Well, we've got Alpha Gully, who's just about catching up to the back of the pack. Just gotta think he's deciding to go now. Is Laurenti? He has. He's caught Casper napping a little bit, but not really got much of a gap. But yeah, it's a clean getaway for everyone, which is great to see.
And of course, this is where Laurenti is going to be able to pull away from Casper on those medium compound tyres. In these tight, twisty corners, it's going to be very difficult for Casper to stick onto the back here, but he's doing a good job at the moment, is Casper.
Yeah, Casper's doing a great job just sticking within that 1 second margin. But yeah, Provotox is still behind, applying all the pressure he can. But that's Krypton. And he's out at the Novel chicane. What did I say?
Well,
it's the 3rd driver now to crash out.
Fourth driver in total that's crashed out this race, but the third in the Novel chicane. And I was actually going to bring that question to you. How many people do you think are going to crash out the Novel chicane? And right now we've already had 3. How many more do you foresee happening over the rest of this race?
Well, hopefully for the sake of, well, just keeping, well, as many people as we can racing, I hope that there's none, but who knows at this point? We've already seen 3 people. Who's to say that there won't be another 3 people?
Absolutely, as Laurenti has pulled that gap out and has broken the 1 second window, and now Casper needs to be a little bit more concerned about what's behind him than what's in front of him right now.
Yeah, definitely. Casper's gonna be, well, you don't want him to be, but he's gonna be looking at his mirrors a little bit. He's gonna be racing in his mirrors, but he's just got to keep on running his race. Of course, it's fairly, well, it's not a very easy overtaking track, but you just gotta make your car as wide as possible. Just make your car Alonso at Hungary. That's all you gotta do. Make it as wide as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Lap 18 of 39. Laurenti leads away by almost 2 seconds right now, ahead of Casper in second place. Casper holding on to second place right now on track. Has big pressure from behind from Povatox and of course from Kilkery in P4. Then there's a nice little 5 second gap back to Jano's just been lunged down the inside by Frisbee there, and around the outside of the hairpin goes the Aston Martin, and that's just a brilliant overtake there from Frisbee.
Oh, I think Povatox might be having a little look. He was using his ERS through the tunnel. He's getting very close to the back of Casper through the Novel chicane, but still just no, well, he just can't get a look in at an overtake. So Casper doing very well with overtaking and just keeping that podium position.
If we're going to see any kind of overtake happen, obviously we need Povatox to get a little bit closer to Casper, especially down that DRS straight. It's not very long and it's not as effective as it usually is on other circuits, but it can provide a little bit of an advantage if you blend it with some ERS at the same time.
Yeah, definitely, but it's kind of Janil. What's happened to Janil? Maybe a mistake from him, and even Nye and Robbie have both got past him. And that is George Ansell getting past Jakku as well. I did see I thought I saw a little bit of front wing end plate flying, and yeah, that's Janil. Janil's missing his front right end plate.
Jano losing out on his front right, as you see George absolutely pushing Jano through the corner there, looking to try and get himself up into P8 in this race and demote Jano down to P9, but I think Jano right now backs out of that move in towards Raskas and it's going to bail out into the pit lane.
Yes, unfortunate for Jano, but look at Povatox, he's back right under the rear wing of Casper, but all this is doing is just wrecking his tyres and Kilkery's tyres as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As Kilkery just sitting in P4 waiting for an opportunity, as Povatox is closing in on the breaking down into us. Rush King does not want to go for the move just yet, so we'll be patient, which is what we have to see. We have to get patience from these drivers, especially on a track like Monaco.
Yeah, and of course Laurenti has already nearly pulled out a 3-second gap on Casper, and if he was going to pit, just looking at gap to the leader, can't remember exactly how much time you lose in the pits here, but he's gonna be out. He's gonna come out on the tail end of the points, you think?
Absolutely, tail end of the points, or maybe even just missing outside of the points. Who knows?
Yeah.
At this moment in time, But what we do know at this moment in time is Laurenti leading by a comfortable margin.
Yeah, well, you have to think with the position that all the guys on the mediums are now. It would be a massive risk, but I think the majority of them would try and go to the end on these mediums. I think the hard runners will have it a little bit, well, they'll have it a lot easier getting to the end than the medium guys, but I think the majority of them will try to get to the end on the mediums.
And of course, it's not a bad strategy to do that. As Paradox once again right underneath that rear wing of Casper, not close enough road to go for an overtake at this moment in the race.
Yeah, just looking further back in the field, we have a little mini train that's formed at the tail end of the points between George Ansel, Alpha Gully and Jakku. Of course, George Ansel has that 3-second penalty, so in the long run, if Alpha Gully and Jakku don't get any penalties, it won't really matter this battling, but you still gotta battle for position as if you haven't got any penalties, as of course everyone likes a bit of racing, so they're not just, George won't just let him through. That's contact between Alpha Gully and George Ansel going into the chicane, well, into the hairpin, sorry. Doesn't look like he's got any front wing damage, so it's very lucky is Alpha Gully with that contact on the back of George.
Absolutely, and now we will see. Looking at the pit stop again in this race, whether they will, George will say, and try and stretch it all the way out to the end. If I am some of these drivers in the mediums, I don't know, I would probably go for a set of softs at the end and look at that side-by-side action between Alpha Gully and of course George Ansel, and that's allowed Jakku to follow through as well. So George Ansel drops down 2 places outside the top 10.
Yeah, and that is Yano retiring bits. It's unfortunate, as this track is very much unrelenting. But yeah, going back to Laurenti, his gap back to Casper is now over 3 seconds, and Provotox is still within 3, well, he's hovering around the 4, whoa, contact with the wall as he's started to struggle with the rear grip is Provotox. He had a very squirmy moment which he hit the wall leading into Raskas. But he was able to keep it. He was able to keep it on, well, keep it fairly straight, and doesn't look like he's got any damage, so he's very lucky with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Lap 24 of 39. Laurenti still leads the way ahead of Casper in second place, as we have Paradox in P3. P4 going the way of Kilcree right now. And then of course we got UN in P6. P7 going the way of Jones. P8 going the way of Alpha Gully. P9 going the way of Jakku. And P10 going the way of the one and the only George Ansel. And that is now, we've seen safety cars come out on this circuit, but at the same time, I do believe that with the Scuderia Ferrari of Go Brandisi, I've absolutely butchered that, haven't I? Absolutely butchered it. But you know what? We will roll on. But yeah. I mean, I think I read the wrong name anyway. Oh my god. Guys, you can tell I've what's called a little bit out of my depth at the moment, but you know, I'll try to persevere. I am feeling a bit sick as well, as Same as Quinn, I did have to step away and politely go and throw up. But Povatox on the back of Casper here, lap 25 of 39. Povatox really trying to crank up the pressure now for that P2 spot, as it looks like Casper just picks up the 3-second time penalty. And what I was going to say is, it looks like Casper closing in now on Lauren T, so maybe now we're starting to see these medium tyres begin to fall away slightly.
Yeah, definitely, and that's big because now Casper's gonna. Yeah, Provotox doesn't look like he's got any damage again. He's very lucky again, but yeah, it's gonna be. It's so unlucky for Casper to get that 3-second as he goes wide through Sandoval. Loses about 2 temps going through there, but even just through the following corner, he's gaining time. He's gaining a lot of time on the back of Lauren T. I believe, well, I'm not sure what these guys are going to do from this point, as yeah, the medium tyres, they just seem to, fall off a cliff as Provotox is outside the 1 second margin, and Kilcree is now right on the back of Provotox.
Yeah, and here's the question now, do these medium runners come in for another set of mediums, or do they try and extend it out to the softs? That's going to be the big question, because I do believe that if they try to stay out, they're never going to catch up to Casper, but if they do pit, they have the opportunity of catching up over the remaining of this race.
Yeah, I think with Casper having that penalty, it's gonna make it a lot easier. Well, yeah, if you're Lauren T, Provotox or Kilcree, it's gonna make it, well, a much easier time for yourself to, well, potentially get the race win and steal it away from Casper.
I mean, it's currently in the hands of Lauren T right now, the race victory, but the gap hovering around 3 seconds, so maybe the tyres haven't gone off. Maybe let's call Lauren T made a small mistake somewhere, and Casper able to close up slightly, as Povatox still falling away from the hard runner up ahead, and will soon have pressure from Kilcree in the end.
Yeah, it's quite a weird one. Lauren T was losing about a tenth or two every lap to Casper, and now he's gained pretty much 6 tenths out of nowhere.
We're still looking at this battle for the final point position, as it looks like Kilcree potentially looking for a move down the inside into Marcinet, and now through Casino. Job done for Kilcree. An incredible overtaking opportunity there from the AlphaTauri. Gets himself out into the podium positions and can now try to go chasing after Casper for P2.
Yes. Now I think maybe Kilcree's tyres are just in a little bit better condition than Provotox. So now Kilcree's got a chance to try and catch Casper, like you were saying.
Yeah, we're going to see if he's able to do that. Currently, right now, lap 28 of 39. It is Lauren T who leads the way, and this will be a fantastic win for Lauren T to get, if he is able to cross the checker flag in first place.
Yeah, and he's just on that last lap alone, he gained we pulled away about 8 temps from Casper. So yeah, he's really showing that these mediums, well, at least on his car, aren't quite done yet. And maybe it's going to get to a point where Casper's tyres are going to fall off before Lawrence does.
Yeah, absolutely, and this could be make or break right now for Lauren T here. I mean, do you come into the pits? I mean, you got the bonus of the fact that it's Monaco and very good for overtake that. But do you think we'll see another safety car and it's all fair tonight?
Well, we could potentially see it, but it's not gonna. Well, if we do see another safety car, I do believe we'll see pretty much everyone come in for a set of softs from at least this point. And it's going to really bunch up the pack, and it's going to make it even worse of a situation for Casper. So he's going to drop even further back down the field. Even with his 3-second time penalty now, he would only drop down to 4th, with Chris Bree only being 12 and, well, I say only, he is about 12.5 seconds off the back of Provotox. So yeah, looking down the field a bit, we've got Robbie still in DRS train with even Knight and Chris. So it's going to be interesting to see if Robbie can potentially get a move done on even, and well, doesn't look this way at the moment, but yeah, even is really starting to struggle with keeping up with Chris. He is about he's over a second behind, and Robbie is going to have the benefit of DRS going into Sandovat and looking a bit further up on Kilcree. He is still within about a half a second margin of Casper. Yeah, Casper's, well, since the last lap, the gap is just sticking around the 4.5 second mark. So yeah, given about 3 laps ago, the gap was at 2.7 and now it's at 4.4. So not sure if it's Casper's just had a little bit of inconsistencies, or if Laurent has just found a second wind in his medium tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, on those medium tyres, it is going to be a big call to stay out on those medium tyres, because they will wear and tear, as we got this lovely freeway battle between the Sauber of Puma, the Ferrari of No One in Alone, and of course the Liverpool contingency as well, showing their support for Liverpool Football Club. Yeah, it's going to be another interesting race, I think.
Yes. Gonna be, well, we haven't really had any close battling at the moment. The closest battle on track is between Alpha Gully and Jakuz. Jakuz has a little bit of a look down the inside at Casino, but he isn't able to. He's just getting all in the mirrors of Alpha Gully ahead, just trying to force him into a mistake, but it isn't quite happening like that. And yeah, these medium tyres are going to be feeling really bad for these guys right now, being on 19 laps old. We're back to Kilcree. The gap is just teetering on the edge of 1 second, and as crosses the line onto lap 33 we've got. There's 7 laps of racing to go, including this one. And Laurent is starting to get fairly close to George Ansel. But yeah, I think all of these guys are going to be trying to get these tyres to the end. But that is Robbie getting an overtake done on even. However, he did pick up a 3-second time penalty in, well, whilst doing the overtake.
Yeah, that's not going to help
So-
him in this race whatsoever. That 3 second will drop him down below even in this race, but at the same time, if these two battle, it could bring Jakku into play.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it could, well, yeah, it could bring Jacko into play, but also not forgetting that there's Alpha Gully there as well. He's about 5 seconds back, so unless he can really start closing up to these two, as he goes really deep, and that is 3 second time penalty for Alpha Gully. He went deep out of, he went deep on the entry to the Novel chicane and just cut it by the finest of the margins, and there's obviously his third warning. Even is back past Robbie, and Robbie is into the pits off the hard tyres. They've only done 20 laps. He's switching to the softs and getting a front wing change, so that is possibly why he's having to pit. But of course, only 10 runners left in this race, so everyone who does finish the race from this point will be scoring at least a single point.
Yeah, and that's important. As long as you guys are scoring points, we are happy with that. Come for the hairpin right now. We have the Scuderia Ferrari of Ivan Kimsey there. He's in a bit of no man's land, but we've got a nice buffer to the car behind and a nice buffer to the car ahead, so you can just get his head down, focus on the circuit and check question, and not worry about any other things for this moment in time.
Yeah, and that's George Ansell going through Mirabeau, having a little bit of a mistake. Of course, it is only 4 laps. His tyres are only 4 laps old, so he shouldn't really be having too much trouble, but yeah, I've seen him slide through a lot of corners and a lot of times through rustcasts on these tyres. So yeah, he's just not having a good time on these softs.
Shooting up as in the front, and the only for Axel is closing in on our leader, and a free stop. It's been alluded to in the chat by Cancer and I'm not gonna lie.
Just looking.
I don't think I trusted Hanley. Got a little bit too close to the wall for my liking. Did Bob Addox, and of course now with Gilchrist up ahead and all over the back of Casper now. It's Gilchrist in prime position to maybe take this P2 away from Casper.
Yeah, definitely. Provotox, I think the wear on this medium tyre has just got the better of Provotox now, and he's really starting to feel the effects of how worn they are. But that is George Ansell with another 3 second time penalty. He's just really not enjoying himself out here at the moment, and that's Robbie picking up another fastest lap with a 1:10.4. And Kilcree is dropped back a bit from Casper, and he's dropped back outside of the DRS. So as we cross the line here, well, we get close to crossing the line, we're going to be on lap 37, and it will be 3 laps of racing to go, with Lauren T being 3.5 seconds ahead of Casper.
Yeah, absolutely. Lauren T has driven absolutely fantastically here tonight, and would be a probably well-deserved nomination for a driver of the day vote. Of course, we will save that until the very end of the stream. But right now, it is Lauren T who leads the way ahead of Casper in second place. Casper the 3 second time penalty though, so he will drop behind Gilcree, but he's done enough so far to stay ahead of the second half of Bro Radox.
yeah, it's just like I was saying before. I think these medium tires have just like got away from Prototype series. The gap is 4 seconds to Kilcree, and it's verging on 5 seconds to Casper. As I say, that is about 4.5 seconds. So it's got about a second and a half to 2 seconds to try and catch back up to Kilcree to try and at least get on the podium.
Yeah, exactly, and that it'll be the big downfall for myself and that if it does come down to it comes down to just last lap carnage.
Yeah, there would have to be, well, to be honest, it would have to be an absolute miracle for Prototypes to get on the podium now with the gap being so big, but we are getting towards the end. We will hop on board with Laurenti when he starts final lap. Of course, the only close battle on here is between Kilcree and Casper.
Yeah, and we are currently on board with that as it is Kilcree over the back of Casper. Provadox around about 4.5 seconds back. 3 second time penalty for Casper at this moment in time. As I mean, what Provadox needs is Kilcree to really pressure Casper in this final lap and get himself underway. But we'll go on board with Laurenti in this race. I feel like Kilcree is just going to sit in behind and accept the P3 on track, but we'll get promoted to P2, knowing that he has that in the bag. But we'll be on board with Laurenti now coming through Casino for the final time, and now heading down in towards Mirabeau for the final time, and now in towards the Grand Hotel hairpin. As Tropic, obviously early on in the stream, Tropic showing a lot of level support for Alpha Gully. Alpha Gully still going in this race, so guaranteed points. So that is good going from Alpha Gully. As George Ansell picked up a 3 second time penalty. Sorry, I thought it said 5 for a second. Oh, I should have gone to Specsavers. I really should have. As Laurenti now.
Whoa! Casper really sliding away through the Novell chicane, and that has just caused Kilcree to close up a little bit extra, but there's only one man who really should have our attention, and it is Laurenti. From starting on pole to leading virtually every lap of this race, it is Laurenti crossing the line for the win, and it is Casper crossing the line in P2, but Kilcree finishing the race in P2, Casper P3, Prototypes in P4. Chris Free just coming around Anthony Noakes and down the DRS straight. He's weaving about. He knows it's a great result for him. P5, and even coming through the final corner, getting a P6 with Jakku about 3 seconds back. In P7, Robbie with the fastest lap, but Alpha Gully does finish ahead. And George Ansell, the last person, just coming through the Novell chicane now.
Yeah, and Robbie, after making that pit stop for the set of the soft tyres, was on an absolute charge trying to come back through the field. Did manage to catch back up to Alpha Gully and get the overtake done, but unfortunately penalties going the other way for Robbie. But we did have to prioritise the battle at the front, so fortunately it is what it is. As George Ansell, proper dirt rallying through the through Rascasse, but comes across the line to complete the race, and that brings an end to Monaco. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, I am gonna apologise, because I do understand that what's got tonight, and I'm not feeling the best tonight, not at all. And I think you guys can tell, and I think obviously with Quinn as well. Quinn also not feeling the best, and he's done a very good job covering for me where I've had to take small breaks and that to go back and forth to the bathroom. But it is that man on the top step of the podium, it is Lauren T with a fantastic victory and honestly, driver of the day performance from myself.
Yeah, it's been every lap, of course. He started on the hards and then safety car came out and he kind of had to pit under the safety car as you do at Monaco. And yeah, he's just led every single lap and definitely a deserved driver of the day nomination. But I'm actually gonna give mine to Kilcree, starting P10, and of course, being a track that's not very known for overtaking, finishing P2 is an excellent result here in Monaco, especially starting from 10th. So yeah, definitely gonna give mine to Kilcree.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're running for the order one more time. It's Lauren T with the victory, Kilcree in second, Casper in third, Provadox in fourth, Crisby in fifth, even in sixth place. As we go through the rest of the field now, as I get the stream back up so I can read the rest of it. Even in sixth place with Jacko in seventh, Alpha Gully in eighth with OP Robbie in ninth, along with the fastest lap, and George Ansel picking up the final point paying position. Outside of the points, we had Yanel Krypton, Smalley Balls, we had Thomas, and then of course we had it was Bell, the first person to retire out on track, and unfortunately for him, no points whatsoever. But we'll refer ourselves now back over to this screen. And honestly, Danny, I mean, Monaco, I mean, there definitely was a lot of issues for these drivers in the Nouvelle Chicane. Of course, we did lose several drivers to the Nouvelle Chicane here tonight, and honestly, a pretty dominant performance from Lauren T. As you mentioned, Kilcree there coming from 10th up to 3rd, a great drive from him, and of course, it's going to be interesting to see what happens as we move on through the rest of the calendar. Speaking of the calendar, let us have a quick look here, as I believe round number 4 has been decided. I believe round number 4 has been decided. Do we know what round number 4 is yet?
I can't remember. Let me see if I can find it. Do believe round 4 is Austria.
Yeah, there we go. Round number 4 is Austria. I'm gonna quickly change the calendar over, because of course now that we know it's round number 4 is Austria, we'll do a quick little change on that, and we will show you the updated calendar. And there we go. Yeah, round number 4 is of course Austria. Then of course we go to round number 5 at Canada, then France for round number 6, Portugal round number 7, Azerbaijan round number 8, round number 9 goes to Zandvoort, round number 10 goes to Brazil, and of course we end the season at the Circuit of the Americas for the American Grand Prix in Texas. As that brings an end to Monaco. Massive congratulations to our race winner here tonight in Lauren T, and of course to our podium finishers in Kilcree and Casper. That is going to bring an end for it tonight. And have you got any final words, Quinn, before we head off? Because I think both of us are feeling very under the weather right now.
Nothing specific, just hope you guys have a good week, and we'll see you back here next Monday round the Red Bull Ring.
Yep, we'll catch you next week, guys. I have been Michael Edwards. He has been Danny Quinn, and we'll catch you next week for more F4 action. Until then, is goodbye from the pair of us. Goodbye.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Literally a guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that 2 lead, 1.5 seconds DRS.